This is Pat Soundbites Unplugged. Unplugged. The podcast where all the artists go to tell it as it is. Careers, music, tours, and more. And here's your host, the man that refuses to eat squid, Pat Calamari.
Hey, Pat Calamari here. Music News Saturday and podcast episode number 27. Happy Saturday, January 11, 2020. I'm going to title this The Graceness, the Sadness, and the Ugly. You know? So certainly all my music lovers that follow my podcast, Pat Soundbites Unplugged, thank you. Two great interviews yesterday. First featuring the talented Katie Henry. Love her music, love her CD, High Road. So glad she's hitting the high road and embarking on a West Coast tour beginning at the end of January. So all my Cali friends out there, please go and check her out. You will not be disappointed. She is incredible. And then yesterday in the afternoon, the amazing blues rocker Taz Crew. And what a life this wonderful soul has had. And what he does for the blues genre, blues in school, writing books for children to relate to the uniqueness of the blues music. This man is certainly the real deal. I support him, love him. Anyone who goes out of the way to teach children and spend time about music and goes to the schools, I mean, you got to tip your hat off to him. Catch Taz on tour and buy his album Memphis Song, and his new release is coming out very shortly called Drive On. Taz is actually in the Mid-Hudson Valley here in New York State tonight, if you're listening right now, tonight at Elsie's on Route 208 in Wallkill, and tomorrow night at Lucy's Lounge in Pleasantville, New York, in Westchester County. Now, lots of music news to talk about, mixed with my own personal thoughts, and this has been driving me crazy, so I was thinking, let me get this out there. I was thinking about a cool title like that Western Clint Eastwood, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, but the title didn't really kind of match up to what I want to say of the Graceness, the Sadness, and the Ugly. Well, the Graceness is all about the amazing Grace Potter and her new album, Daylight. First, what is there not to love about Grace Potter? I've been a fan forever, love Grace Potter, and then Nocturnals since the beginning. Love her music style of blues, folk, rock, soul, Americana, and then some. Love her songs. In the beginning, Low Road, I love Tiny Lights, I love the Paris Ooh La La, I love Stars. And I think my all-time favorite, The Lion, the Beast, and the Beat. What a freaking great song. And now her first album in 4 years, released on October 25th of last year on Fantasy Records. And her first single out of it is Love is Love. This is her second solo LP and the first on Fantasy Records, I should say. And Daylight is incredible. A life-altering 4-year hiatus that she's taken from the music business and sat back. And she apparently thought she would never record another album again. And Daylight is so emotionally raw. It is the result of this crazy life journey she was on. And this is the most emotionally revealing, musically daring work without a doubt of her career. A new marriage. She's now a mother of a son. Totally new life reflected in the title, I think, Daylight. And to me, this is a brand new day for her. And the album is a killer. Lots of pain, lots of hurt, emotions from deep inside are really released in these incredible songs. I have played and loved Back to Me, Every Heartbeat, which is kind of about her son. There's a song Desire. There's a song Everyday Love, and that's kind of relates to her new marriage and her husband. Just incredible work. And then there are the other songs that are about releasing the emotions of maybe the bad times. And one song is titled Release. One song is titled Shout It Out. Hey, if this is over, let me know. The other one is Repossession. Pretty much emotions, letting it all go. She has just kicked off the Daylight Tour this last Thursday in Charleston, South Carolina. And she'll be here in the Northeast New York tri-state area for shows beginning on Tuesday, January 28th at the College Street Music Hall in New Haven, Connecticut. Up in Maine, Portland, Maine, it is sold out at the State Theater on the 29th. She'll be in Albany at the Egg on January 30th. That is sold out. There's no surprises with any of these sellouts, to be honest with you. Friday the 31st at the House of Blues in Boston. And Saturday, February 1st at the iconic Beacon Theater in New York City. Now, I did reach out for an interview after numerous emails to the record label publicist and finally got a kind of a answer of that. Since the tour has kicked off, she's extremely busy, packed schedule, and I get it. Yes, I am disappointed, but will show my love and support, as I always do, by playing tracks off this new outstanding album and all her awesome music. That's what I do, keeping new music alive on the radio airways. Nobody does it better than me. Grace, if you are listening, love you, call me. For more info, go to her website, Facebook, and all that at gracepotter.com. Now, with the sadness, of course, we're all in shock and stunned. We learned yesterday the loss of one of the greatest drummers and lyricists of all time, the loss of Rush's Neil Peart. It's crazy to see my Facebook and Twitter feed completely overwhelmed by all these posts and tweets honoring the legacy of this incredible man. For music lovers, let's face it, you either loved Rush or you didn't. I think, looking at my old ticket stubs, April 3rd, 1979 on the Hemisphere Tour, and also on January 26th in 1980 on the Permanent Waves Tour, were the first two times I saw Rush here in Poughkeepsie at the Mid-Hudson Civic Center. And I definitely recall being 10th row on the left side, facing the stage, looking right in front of Alex Lifeson, right in front of me, and I was certainly hooked. Their musicianship was different and certainly over the top. And, another great rock trio out of Canada, like Triumph, but certainly different. And I remember they covered, I want to say in the 1980 show, the Permanent Wave show, they covered a lot of 2112, Hemispheres, some songs from A Farewell to Kings, Fly By Night. Songs I remember like Free Will, Xanadu, Spirit of Radio, Closer to the Heart. I want to say Working Man, Finding My Way. And of course, one of the best parts of the show was the amazing drum solo by Neil. Overall, an incredible show. I remember walking out of that place going, wow. What I did find in my preparation of doing Rush stuff was that they actually played here in Poughkeepsie two more times previous, November 16th in 77 for a Farewell to Kings tour, and the opener was AC/DC. Go figure, what the hell was I thinking not going to that? And April 21st, actually earlier that year, on All the World's a stage tour, and they had Max Webster open up. But I remember seeing him, I want to say in 1980. Neil received numerous awards, certainly for his musical performances, including an induction into the Modern Drummer Hall of Fame in 1983, making him the youngest person ever so honored to be in that class. His drumming was renowned for, his technical proficiencies, his live performances, the exacting nature and stamina. How can we forget the show in April of 2013 in LA with the Rock and Roll Hall of Shame, I'll call it. Should be the Music Hall of Fame, but that's a whole different other story. They were inducted by the Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl and Taylor Hawkins. And how can we forget the famous Alan Lifeson blah, 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 blah speech. Reading about Neil, he drew most of his inspiration from drummers like Keith Moon and John Bonham, players who certainly were at the forefront of the British rock scene, and they say as time has passed, he began to emulate jazz and big band musicians like Gene Krupa and Buddy Rich. In 1994, Neil became a friend and pupil of jazz instructor Freddie Gruber, and it was during that time that Neil decided to revamp his playing style by incorporating jazz and swing components. So that kind of explains why he was just like the professor of the drum kit, and all his fills and everything that he really done. In addition to serving as Rush's primary lyricist, he also published several memoirs about his travels. I mean, the lyrics address universal themes, diverse subjects, including science fiction, fantasy, philosophy. He wrote a total of 7 non-fiction books focused on his travels and personal stories. And the drum kit, I mean, if you've never been to a Rush show, I can't explain the drum kit. And over the years, it just got bigger, shinier, and better. I mean, I remember the Time Machine tour and maybe the R40 celebrating 40 years. I mean, that drum kit was just out of sight, was insane. And how he can just press a foot pedal and the whole thing would turn, and just amazing. I want to say here, December 7, 2015, Neil announced his retirement from music in an interview with Drumhead magazine, though Getty said that it was quoted out of context. He was just taking a break. However, Alex says in January 2018, confirms that Rush was retiring due to Neil's health issues. And that's the first time I've heard of that. I never knew he was going through this brain cancer thing. During his last years, he's lived in Santa Monica, California, with his wife and his daughter, and sadly died on Tuesday at the age of 67. I think the best line I saw in all these feeds and tweets was somebody wrote, "The next thunderstorm is certainly John Bonham and Neil doing a drum wars trade-off." I mean, that is pretty cool, to say the least of that. And now for the ugly. Oh my, I want to say effing God. David Lee Roth performs at the House of Blues in Vegas on the 8th, launching this residency at the House of Blues at Mandalay Bay. Diamond Dave, oh my God. A total, in my opinion only, a fucking train wreck. The two positives is he was in Vegas, where you could be any type of performer, and he certainly wasn't lip singing, although there was some tracking if you look at some of the YouTube videos that are out there. But holy crap, Dance the Night Away, Unchained, Panama, I mean Jump, all garbage. Spoken word, him loving telling stories. I mean, what the F is this? Here, Dave, melodically, certainly, to me, destroying his legacy one song at a time. Watching the videos, to me, just like this guy wants to be a David Coverdale in this magician's outfit or running a circus act, and he looks autistic, stumbling on stage to do singing and entertaining of relatives in their living room, for Christ's sake. I mean, the band, I felt so bad for. The band was great. The background vocals were great. But Dave's voice has left the building. And furthermore, what is Kiss thinking? As Gene and Paul completely lost their effing minds? Or how much is Dave paying for this? I mean, this is crazy that David Lee Roth will be opening up for Kiss for 43 North American shows between February, which starts on February 1st in Manchester, New Hampshire, and wraps up on October 2nd in Fort Worth, Texas. Sickening. Makes me sick. As a big fan of Van Halen, I did see David Lee Roth in the early 80s doing his leaps, his jump. It was actually Alex Van Halen's birthday at the New Haven Coliseum. It was a wild and great show, and to watch this was complete sickness. Makes me want to vomit. He needs to do this at a nursing home in Vegas. his voice is shot, and it gets me to wonder, what is Vince Neil going to do in the stadium tour? I hope he's taking notes. I hope he's going to a vocal coach, because Kiss is lost their mind if they're having this man go on stage in front of them for 43 shows. I can't believe it. And I wouldn't be surprised if some contract was cut and somebody's going to come in, because the reviews, as funny as they are, and you got to know Dave, he likes to tell stories, which is part of his act, but if it's a spoken word David Lee Roth story talking about Van Halen songs in a meeting, and he sings part of it, well, at least you know what you're getting, what you're paying for. But to see David Lee Roth, and he's saying he's going to cover Van Halen songs, and every night's going to be different, and the first night he comes out on Elvis's birthday wearing an Elvis wig and costumes, but his voice is shot. It has left the building on a bus that jumped and fell over a cliff. So sad. Don't take my word for it. Go to YouTube and you see for yourself. I'm going to leave you on a good note, because I know it was the Graceness, the sadness, and certainly the ugly. On a positive note, Sammy Hagar and Rick Springfield are among artists who will take part in the tribute show for the late, great money man, Eddie Money. The concert will also feature George Thorogood, John Waite, Mickey Thomas. It's going to be hosted by comedian Louis Anderson. There's going to be more guests to be announced. The show taking place on February 20th at the Canyon venue in Beverly Hills. Tickets are on sale now. It proceeds to benefit Music Cares and the USC Eddie Money Cancer Research Fund organization. So how cool is that? I mean, Eddie Money, are you kidding me? Sold over 28 million records worldwide. He was just a fan of everybody's. He always was there for his family, his friends, his fan. A true gentleman, and a really good thing that they're doing for him and his family. As you recall, Eddie died in September at the age of 70, and he revealed he was fighting cancer. He didn't want to, hide anything from anybody, and whoever thought that it would take his life as quickly as it did. So there is the positive. That is my music news for Saturday. The Graceness, love you Grace if you're listening. The sadness, certainly Neil Peart. Going to play a lot of Rush tomorrow. Well, again, they're not going to take up the whole show, but certainly tribute to Neil and Rush tomorrow on the Pat Show at WBXO, beginning at 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can listen live at 103.7 FM or live stream at WBXOClassicRock.com. And the ugly, David Lee Roth, So there you have it. Please share, tell your friends. I hope you enjoy it. I am overwhelmed of the support that I'm getting on this podcast, Pat Soundbites Unplugged. And yes, I don't eat squid. We're losing these people left and right. And as I say, after every show, after every podcast, after every episode, you got to make the best of it, folks. Live, love, and laugh a lot, because life is way too short. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your weekend. And listen to WBXO tomorrow. See you soon. We'll be back on Monday. Got a great interview coming up with Jeff Scott Soto of Sons of Apollo, who's got a great new album coming out. We'll play a little of that tomorrow, too, on WBXO. See ya.